our third part of our red to green series. So we've kind of recapped our flow chart here where we take people from mobility all the way up to strength and power, basically red light, to our top end green lights. Today we're going to talk about our rotary stability. So our rotary stability, as you see over here, we have SM, ASLR. Basically what that's kind of pointing us back to on this side is we should already make sure our mobility is clear. We don't want to start attacking stability issues if we have mobility issues in the body. We need to make sure we can clear those mobility issues so we can ask the body to do what it's designed to do. If we're stuck and we hit a roadblock and we're not able to get our body into the proper position, we're kind of at the wrong spot here attacking the rotary stability. So let's make sure we clear the mobility first. You know, clear the T-spine, clear the hips. As soon as we get that, now the body is going to have a chance to start to stabilize. So this is where we're going to just start this one here, getting into our static stability. So we're going to take you through just a handful of exercises today. There's tons of different exercises that you can choose, but these are just some of our favorites. So we're going to be doing the ball rock back with an arm lift. So that's our static stability, really bracing, locking that in. Steve's going to take us through that in just a second. Then we're going to go into our dynamic control, which is going to be our upper body and lower body rolling. And then finally, we're going to finish with some strength and power. So we're going to go through a suitcase deadlift as well as a kettlebell snatch. So Steve, why don't you go ahead and coach me through some of these exercises now that I explained the rotary stability, so we can actually get a little hands-on demonstration of what we're talking about with our continuum.
Alright, let's get started with the ball rock back with arm lift. So we have the ball set up right here. So let's have Jared just basically get in the quadruped position. And his butt is touching the ball and his feet are to the sides of the ball. And we have his feet flexed where his toes are touching the ground. So from here it's real important to make sure we get him into a perfect neutral spine, because the goal of this exercise is to be able to maintain neutral spine with the core engaged and then moving independent. So basically from here we get him nice and flat. Another good time to use the PVC, and we put that on his butt, back, and let's get that head up a little bit, a nice long neck. So there. Now you have him in a perfect position. We want his hands kind of turn it out a little bit to make sure he's engaged everywhere and he's turned on. And then all we're going to have him do is rock back into the ball. So he's putting some pressure into the ball, which is going to pre-engage his core. From there, we'll have him take a breath, exhale as he lifts that arm up, and maintain this posture throughout the entire exercise. So that's the goal. He'll come up, off the ball, reset, back into the ball. Go ahead and lift the other arm. You can alternate arms. You can do all one side, switch to the other side. I like to alternate. Perfect breathing pattern, and we'll have him come back off the ball. So that is the stability ball rock back with an arm lift. From there, we'll go into some rolling progressions. So just move that ball out of the way. We'll have Jared just lay right here in the middle of the floor. We'll start with lower body rolling. So he's going to go ahead and just put both hands up over his head, and then we're going to have him roll from left to right. So he's just going to barely lift that leg up and then cross the midline, and he's driving the roll with his lower body. So basically, from his waist up, we want no movement. We can say paralyzed from the waist up, and then we have him do the same thing coming back. And that lower body is doing the rolling, and that upper body should just twist and follow the lower body. So it's almost like a flopping motion, and that's good. So that's what our baseline core stability and rotary stability exercise to get the core online and start to talk. So from there we're going to go into the upper body roll. So Jared's going to roll towards me. We want him to lift his head, put his nose in his armpit, and drive the roll with that arm. So from the waist down, the legs are completely out of this. And that's one of the big goals that we have on this, is to make sure that this is just an upper body driven roll. Just have to go that way. And come on back. He's lifting that head and looking towards me. He's really twisting that body, getting that core online. If he's having a hard time with the roll, we can cue him by giving him some feedback on the heel. So let's just go ahead and roll that way. We can give him some feedback on that heel, tell him to get long. Or we can give him some assist with bands or just actual a little bit of manual assist. There's a lot of ways to help with that roll, and those are just a few good ways to do that. From there, we're going to go into the suitcase deadlift for our strength. So we're going to grab the kettlebell. So we're looking one side. So we're going to put the kettlebell off to the side of the foot, and then we're basically just going to have Jared go into a good hip hinge pattern, reach down, grab that kettlebell. If he doesn't have the hip mobility to get down there, we'll just go ahead and bring the kettlebell to him by putting it on a box or raising the kettlebell up a little bit. But he should have the mobility to get there at this point after we've taken him through his mobility stuff. So just a good hip hinge, grab the weight, grip the handle, drive those hips forward to a nice tall position at the top, and slowly lower the weight back down. Perfect. And let's just look at one of those facing this way, so we can just see that perfect hip hinge. Perfect. So once he has that pattern down, and we know his hip hinge is good, his rotary stability is looking better, we can bring him up into a snatch. So the snatch is a good one to illustrate here because it's a unilateral power exercise, which is really going to be exaggerated here on the rotary stability. So same thing with the kettlebell swing or with any hip dominant movement. Push those hips back into space. We're going to start with that kettlebell between the feet, and he's just going to explode into a high pull and push that arm underneath the kettlebell at the top. So go ahead and lower it down any way you like. We're basically doing a bunch of sets of one here, so we're not going to be doing a swinging version of this kettlebell snatch. We're just going to have him slowly lower it down in between each rep and pull it from the floor. You can do it either way. But basically it's a nice explosive hip hinge. He's floating that kettlebell up in the air and speared his hand underneath at the top. It's basically just a kettlebell swing all the way up. So that kind of brings us through the whole continuum of working mobility through the active straight leg raise and through the shoulder mobility, and then all the way into our baseline stability, and we'll bring you the trunk stability push-up next.